Alright, getting started on a new kit build here. I know you're probably all thinking, you have a bunch of projects already in the works, and why aren't you releasing videos of those as well? And I will be. I'll be interspersing those videos with this, but this is a kit for a new component tester. And as my old component tester is starting to get unreliable and has some damage on the screen, I figured, I do use it a fair bit, so I'll go ahead and build the new component tester right away so that, I can actually use it in the background. So without any further ado, this is basically another one of these units here that you've seen me use a bunch of times on the channel. It's just new. It's supposedly got better programming, and it has a case, which should help alleviate the issues that the other one was having with not having a case and the power cords falling off and all of that falderall. But anyway, let's just go ahead and get started the way I normally do. We're going to start with the resistors as usual. It didn't come with any instructions, but thankfully the board is populated with values, so it'll be easy to track down all that stuff. And everything's here, so yeah, it should be fairly simple. Board already came populated with some components here. This one is a 6V8C, which is a transient voltage suppressor, which my old one didn't have. Some sort of little filter cap, it looks like, on the PWM output, because it can output PWM in various different frequencies. And this little 6-pin package here is another voltage suppressor thing, I think. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started with the resistors, which I've already measured out and labeled because sometimes it's hard to tell which end of the resistor you're supposed to read from. So this one here is a 100 and then 3 zeros, so 100K, so brown, black, black, orange. So we'll find the 100K position on the board here. It's right there. Okay. I forgot I have my little component bendy thingy. I should be using that. So we'll just slot that in there. It's holding itself in fairly well. I'll actually do a bunch all at once. We'll do these singles. So this one is 33K. Where's the 33K position? It's like playing Where's Waldo, only with electronics. 33K, where are you? Right there. Okay, so the 33K goes here. Like so. And it's not frictioning itself in very well. There we go. Let's see, we'll do a couple more and then do some soldering, and then we'll do some more and then do some soldering. Just want to get these single resistors out of the way. So this one is a 220 ohm. Where does he go? He goes right up there. Okay. So the 220 ohm goes up here in this corner, like so. Then we're going to do a 20K. I'm not going to read off all of the color bands this time around because I'm actually trying to be somewhat efficient. What did I say this was? 2, 0, 0, and then 2 zeros, 20K, right? I need to pay attention to what I'm doing. Where's the 20K position? Right down here, okay? All these weird values are probably for various different voltage dividers and current control. I'm not even going to pretend I know what's going on in this circuit because it's handled by a microcontroller. So 2K2, so this is a 2.2K ohm. Where's my 2K2? There it is, right there. Just like that. And then 180K. Goes It's right here. 180K goes right there.
Staying in shot fairly well.
Not staying in focus very well.
Now let's raise the focus to a more middle point here.
There we go. Alright, I've got those all on the board. I'm just going to kind of flip it over and start soldering. I'm going to start, as usual, just by soldering one pin. Love these plated through holes. Just drink the solder up, make a nice solid connection. Of course they're not great if you need to do troubleshooting because they're a pain in the butt to desolder, but for actual soldering they're quite nice. Alright, I'm just going to make sure that they're all nice and level. There we go. Keeping an ear out for the cats. Explain this in a post-bag video. Hopefully it'll be up before this goes up. But one of our cats had to be put down because he was having urinary troubles. His urethra was basically blocked with concrete. He had so much sediment and crystals in his urine that there really wasn't much to do for him, which is very sad. And we tried everything. We tried the expensive urinary health foods and the health treats and just everything. And he just didn't take to any of the treatments, and it got so bad that he literally couldn't pee. His urethra was completely blocked. So we were left with the choice of trying to come up with $3,000 for surgery that they said might help, or the difficult decision of having to put him down. And we ended up choosing to put him down because we were just, it was really hard that last night, because he was kind of, for lack of a better term, screaming in agony the whole night. I mean, imagine if your bladder was extremely full and you couldn't get rid of it. And we didn't want to go through that again, because we had already done the medications and the foods and everything, so we made the hard decision. And then the universe just dropped a new cat into our laps, this absolutely gorgeous little black cat. The rescue named him Rupert, but being fans of the chilling adventures of Sabrina, we decided to name him Salem instead. So the old cats are still getting used to the new cat, so I'm just listening for any troubles. Anyway, so now we're going to go on to the 27K resistors, which is, wait, no, yeah, 27K. Kind of a weird value there, but probably for some sort of resistor divider, or voltage divider rather. So 27K goes there, and then right next to it goes the other 27K. So when you need to get a precise voltage, you can use weird values of resistors to do a voltage divider to get a very specific voltage. You know, if you need a very specific resistance, you can take weird values and put them in parallel and or series, stuff like that. Anyway, 1K. Would have expected there to be a lot more 1K resistors, but there's just these two. How am I doing for time? 10 minutes. Okay, got plenty of time. Alright. So put the 1Ks in where they belong. Like so. It's always a good idea before starting one of these projects, even if you really know your way around the resistor color codes. What I do is I identify them, I guess what they should be, then I measure them, and I put their value on the little cardboard tab there. So it's a 3.3K or 3K3 as they mark on these. And I found out that that's just saving space, because 3K3 takes 3 characters, but 3.3K takes 4. So when you're at a premium for space, 3K3 works better. I was really baffled the first time I saw it, though, because I'd never seen it before. Alright, so we'll go ahead and stop there with this batch, or this group. And do the normal... that one's going on a ground plane, so it's a little more difficult to solder. Thus far, I'm very pleased with this kit, though. The plated through holes are just drinking up the solder, which is very nice. There we go, and that one. Right, so we'll just flip this over, make sure they're all nice and level, which some of them aren't. So we'll just center them gently. There we go. This one's still being... maybe it's still being a butt. I'm holding my soldering iron a little weird here. Let's get a proper grip on that. Alright, so that's that batch of resistors nice and level, so we'll finish soldering them. If I sound a little dopey, it's because I'm currently on large... I'm not sticking my head into the camera, am I? I'm currently on somewhat large doses of codeine, not for pain management, but for cough management, because the cold that I picked up, which turned out to be pneumonia, the cough just hasn't gone away. So my doctor gave me some very strong codeine pills to take for the cough, which is funny because I told him I did not want more codeine, and he said, well, I've got bad news for you, we're giving you more codeine. Because it's apparently the best cough suppressant in the drug repertoire. He told me that apparently, well, not apparently, but he told me that any sort of cough suppressant you'll buy over the counter, generally dextromethorphan hydrobromide, they're more expectorants. They're meant for encouraging the goop that's making you want to cough to move out of your body, which of course doesn't do anything for a cough that has no basis in the existence of goop. It's just my bronchi and alveoli are irritated from the pneumonia and still healing, but the healing process makes you want to cough. And then of course coughing irritates your brachial tubes and your alveoli more, which makes you want to cough more, so it's kind of a self-reinforcing cycle. My doctor commiserated with me a bit on that one because I was very frustrated. But yeah, so more codeine it is. Alright, moving on to the 680 ohm resistors. I hope you guys don't mind my rambling. Just trying to fill this silence with stuff. What did I say? 680? Yeah. It's a value of resistor I've never actually worked with before. These are definitely being used for voltage dividers because we've got 680s and 470Ks alternating here. So they've got to be something for voltage dividers for component testing. Alright, and one more. And just because it'll be convenient, I will also put the 470Ks in because they go right next to the 680s. Alright. Pardon me. Well, you probably didn't hear that. Let off a little bit of a burp. Which I'm sure is information that you guys really wanted to know. Or whatever. I should have brought my thermos of water with me, but I did not. I think I will go grab that between cuts. Alright, and then one last 470K. So I just decided this right now. I'm going to do this all as one cut. I mean, I'm going to have to stop every 20 minutes for the camera when it reaches its maximum file size. But I think I'm just going to edit it all together, all as one video. One nice long video. I know some of you have been clamoring for longer videos. I simply don't have enough content coming out at the moment to really do long videos. That's why my videos are typically broken up into smaller chunks, but I guess this one I'll just go ahead and do as one long supercut. I think is the term. Into the hole. Trying to be a little more sparing with the solder because this isn't a single-sided board. So the components are actually held in by the solder that's in the through hole, so you don't need to make a a meniscus of solder on the resistors. What can I talk about while trimming these leads? I suppose I could tell you a little bit more about Salem. So the local pet store, and this is not a pet store that sells pets, but it's a pet store that sells things for pets, you know, toys, food, boxes, etc. But occasionally they'll sponsor a rescue from either the SPCA or Pause, Hope for Pause, Pause for something. It's another little non-profit rescue organization. This is the my Salem came from the other rescue, not the SPCA. Yeah, he's just in the pet store, and we were in there to. I forgot what we were in there for. Oh, that's right, we were in there. This is kind of a sad thing, but we were in there to drop off some of Mark's stuff. We had a special bowl for him to eat from, and you know, we had his special food, which we of course didn't eat anymore, and some other stuff. So we decided we'd donate it, and here's Salem, just sitting there chilling in their "Please rescue me" box. I'm actually gonna clip the video here. I'll be right back. Alright, continuing on. So they of course called him Rupert. Well, not of course, but their name for him was Rupert, and he was just sitting there in his cage, and we were like, oh, he's cute, let's visit with him a little bit. Really expressive cat. These are the 10K resistors, by the way. Really expressive cat, very active with his paws, like he'd reach out and grab your hands and bring them in to lick them or rub against them or whatever. We're like, oh, he's really cute. And we kind of left him be. And then the day after we had to put Mark down for his urinary troubles, one of other cats, Felix, started displaying the exact same symptoms. We were actually pretty freaked out about that, so Matthew took the day off work, and we took Felix into the vet, and they did some tests, and turned out it was completely unrelated to Mark's problem. He just somehow picked up what the vet referred to as a raging urinary tract infection. Like he had blood in his urine, and his urethra was all blocked up with dead cell materials and pus and stuff, and so he couldn't pee, but it was a completely different reason that he couldn't pee. But we were really freaked out. We were like, you know, it's something in the household causing our house cats to get sick, but she thought that it was probably just stress, because the cats knew that Mark was sick long before we did. So Felix was probably stressed because Mark was sick, and then we had to put him down, and the problem just exacerbated. But anyway, so we took him to the vet and got meds and everything, and she gave him some subcutaneous fluids, which is cats have a lot of room underneath their skin. It makes their skin very mobile, so if a predator grabs onto them, they can still move around and twist around and fight back. But that also affords the ability for vets to basically fill the area under their skin with water, which is then slowly absorbed by their body, or saline or electrolytes or whatever is necessary. So she gave him the sub-Q fluids and a big shot of antibiotics. And she sent us home with some anti-inflammatories and antispasmodics, and he seems to be in much better cheer. We ended up going back to the pet store for some toys because she told us that we needed to get Felix a little bit more active, so we decided to pick up some more toys to try to encourage him to play. And Rupert was still there. And we were like, nobody's adopted him yet. This is weird. Because he's so affectionate and awesome and stuff. So we interacted with him a bit more, and I opened his cage for us, and I held him. And this was the moment that we decided we were going to adopt him. I was holding him in my arms, and he squirmed himself upside down like Mark used to do when I told him. And then he reached up with his paws and grabbed my face and pulled it down and started licking my stubble, because I hadn't shaved in a couple of days, so I had a bit of a scruff going on. He just started grooming my facial hair and just purring up a storm the whole time while he was licking my face. And that was really cute, and Matthew was, being, oh, that's really adorable, and so was the pet store employee and stuff, and we were just having a great time. And then I handed him to Matthew so I could try to get a picture of him, and he spent the entire time I was trying to get a picture of him trying to get back in my arms. So we knew right away that he really liked me. And so we went home that night and talked about adopting him and the ramifications, and I was talking to another friend of mine who decided he was going to cover the adoption fee for us, and so now we have a new cat. It all seems kind of a little sudden after the loss of Mark, and I've been really second-guessing myself during the whole situation, like, did we rush into getting a new cat and all of that, but it's been 2 days now since we brought him home, and I'm feeling quite confident of the decision that we made. Despite Jack and Felix having a bit of an issue accepting him, Felix is mostly accepting of him at this point, but Jack is still being a little hostile. But hopefully that'll pass soon. But he's been super cuddly, and he's also very chatty. He likes to talk. He wanders around. Not exactly meowing either. It's more of just little merps and chirps and half purr, half meow sort of sounds. It's really cute. And I've been mostly keeping him in my room. We've got a food bowl and some water and a little litter box set up for him. And yeah, it's a thing, and he's really making himself at home. He's here to stay. So anyway, I've been working on the 104 capacitors here, little ceramics. 104 being 1 0 and then 4 zeros, so 100,000 picofarad or 100 nanofarad capacitors, I believe, if my memory serves correctly, because those numbers are done just sort of like the resistor color codes, but in picofarads. Although 104, yeah, I guess you'd need 4 characters for 100 N. So I guess they're still trying to save space on the PCB, or on the component itself rather. Prefer them to just say 100N or 10P. Although the picofarad ones, they'll just be 22, and that's 22 picofarad, or mostly audio engineers will say 22 puff, PF. Here's a 103, so that's 10 nanofarads. And then a 102, which is 1 nanofarad. And then 22, which is 22 picofarads, or 22 puff. I guess puff is a lot easier to say than picofarads, but just stick those in there. And get in the solder. There we go. Yeah, these didn't level out very well, so I'll just quickly reseat them. There we go. Everything else looks fine, so I'll go ahead and finish soldering them onto the board. One thing with Rupert, although we've decided to call him Salem instead, so I'll say Salem from now on. He's extremely playful, but he also really likes licking. So you'll be petting him, and then he'll be like, "No, it's my turn to groom you," and he'll roll over and he'll very gently grab your hands with his paws and pull your hand in and start licking it rather energetically. And I'm still learning which spots he likes to be petted on, which is something you have to deal with every new cat. You have to learn where they like to be touched, basically. He seems pretty iffy about his hindquarters, but he likes having his forehead scratched. He likes having his nose rubbed too, which is really cute. Aside from that, I'm not too sure where his don't touch zones are, because it's also hard to tell if he's attacking your hand because he's wanting to play, or if he's attacking your hand because you touched him in a way that he doesn't like. So he's going to be a bit of a learning experience. He's one of the youngest cats that I've ever adopted too. He's barely a year old, so he's still pretty young as in cat terms. So he's still got a lot of that kittenish attitude to him. A little bit of mischief, a little bit of curiosity, a lot of playful. So yeah, it's going to be an adventure with him. I've actually been really quite content and happy the last couple of days, introducing him to the home and stuff. Alright, how are we doing? 9 minutes. Alright, moving on to more components here. I think I'm going to go ahead and do the 8 meg crystal. It's still kind of pretty low to the board there. Right in line with the capacitors, so we'll just put that in the board. It's holding itself in really well, so I'll just quickly solder it both legs. You have to be careful with these because they're temperature sensitive devices, so you don't want to have the soldering iron on them for too long. There we go. I guess I'll move on to the transistors next. So I got some S9014s, which I believe the 9014 is a PNP, and the 9012 is an NPN, but I could have that backwards. Feel free to correct me in the comments. I might even correct myself in the description. So there's another 9014 there. I like it when the spacing on the board is in line with the spacing of the leads. Makes it nice. We'll put the 9012 in its position. I actually forgot to look these other ones up, so I'll go ahead and do that real quick. Because we've got a 7550, which I'm not too sure what that one is, so I'm just going to look it up here. Pattern required for additional security. Isn't my fingerprint enough? Okay, so what is it? It's a 7550A-1. 7550A-1. It is a transistor. 75XX1 series is a set of 3-terminal high current low voltage regulators. Let's have a look at the data sheet real quick. Low power LDO. Data sheet, there we go. Let's download that real quick, find out what it does. Oh, so it's a voltage regulator. Okay, so the 7550 is a 5-volt low power dropout voltage regulator, which I should have actually known that now that I think about it. So we'll just drop that into its position. There we go. And this other thing, the TL431, which I believe is a temperature sensor, if I'm not mistaken. TL431. It is a... Oh. It is a 3-terminal adjustable regulator. Okay. So it's going to be another voltage regulator of some sort. Probably for the testing process. Oh, no, that's going to go in this direction. Yes, yes. I suppose I could have also looked up the 9012 and 9014s, but one of them is PNP, the other one is NPN. There we go. Alright, let's just quickly solder these in. How am I doing for time? 5 minutes. Okay, it's almost time to make another cut. But, good after I do these transistors. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing one leg at a time on each of the transistors because they are somewhat temperature sensitive, so I'm giving them a little bit of time to cool off between the solderings. Probably not super necessary, but a little bit extra effort just to make sure that it's okay. This is fine in my book. There we go. Interesting to probe out what components are supporting on the adjustable voltage regulator, figure out what voltage they're actually putting out with it, or if maybe there's if there's something in the circuit where it actually changes the support components on the voltage regulator. But I'll probably leave that for another time if I get bored. Right now I just want to build the thing. That's Matthew arriving home from getting the winter tires installed. It's time for those. And they actually there's like law enforcement. Ooh, that is a really bad blob of solder. Let's fix that. They actually have laws up here that after a certain date you have to have your winter tires. You can get a ticket and a fine if you don't have winter tires installed. Some places, don't worry about it, but up here with the voluminous amount of snow we get, the winter tires are a law. All right, I'm just gonna quickly switch files here, so I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. I also took the opportunity to grab my water bottle so I could hydrate my throat a little bit. Alright, so moving on, let's go ahead and do the LED, which is going to go up here. And put that just right down to the bottom. We're going to it's not sticking, so just solder one peg here. Wait for the soldering iron to wake back up. There we go. There we go. And the microphone probably isn't picking it up, but Salem's out there being a bit of a chatterbox. I think he's excited that somebody's home and paying attention to him. Alright, so we'll trim off the leads of the LED, like so. Now it's time for the capacitors. They're both the same, so we'll just go ahead and drop them in. 10 microfarad. Here, insistent on saying thing. And then the other one goes here. Paying attention to the polarity on the board. The focus is a really difficult thing with filming. One of these days I'll be able to afford a more expensive lens for my camera that'll enable better autofocus, but the current lens, and I've complained about this before, the current lens is just really, really, really noisy and slow. So I'm hoping I can... They have higher quality lenses that have a faster and more silent autofocus, but they're like $700-800, which is pretty much par for the course. But considering this week we dropped like $2,000 on veterinary bills, stuff like that's definitely not in the cards. So now I'm faced with a decision of putting the socket in and then putting the microcontroller in, but I'm not seeing any particular point. Pardon me, I'm about to sneeze. Or not. But I don't really see any point in putting the microcontroller in the socket, because if the microcontroller fails, that's it. I can't do anything because I don't have the code for the microcontroller. Oh, by the way, this is an IC straightener that I just got in the post bag that I did this in. But yeah, I don't particularly see any point, because if the microcontroller fails, I don't have the code, I'm not going to be able to replace it, so I'm just going to drop it directly into the board and leave it so. Alright, so now when soldering, now of course if the microcontroller ever did fail now, it'll be a royal pain in the ass to get out, but I'm not overly concerned. Okay, so it's still seated nicely, so going back to my normal, I'm just going to alternate ends here. And solder pins in, working our way from the outside in. But it occurred to me it might be better to go from the inside out. Let's just keep going. Microcontrollers aren't as heat sensitive, but I do like to let the heat dissipate as much as possible when soldering, so that's why I alternate sides in sort of an X pattern. I'm sure the heat slowly builds up anyway, but whatever. Really looking forward to finishing this kit, because I'm very hungry and want to go make some bacon and eggs. Even though it's like 3 in the afternoon, I want bacon and eggs. Alright, and we'll just quickly kind of nip these off. There we go. Down the line, clip them. There we go. move those out of the way. We don't want them to get stuck to anything. Alright, and that's pretty much the last of the... well, aside from this thing. I think I'm going to do the display first. So, with the display, how exactly do I want to do this? 'Cause previous times I've had issues with the display being kind of off kilter because the pins didn't line up. So what I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and put these posts in. These are the posts that support one side of the display, like so. I'm going to go ahead and see, how do I want to do this? Okay, I'm going to put one pin of this, I'm going to solder it, like so. Of course I would pick the ground plane pin. There we go. And then I'll solder one pin of this. I guess I'll do the ground plane as well. There we go. Alright, and then I'm going to go ahead and place, I'll plug in the display as if it were actually installed. Sorry, my throat's, well, I do have water, so let's drink some water. There we go. Pardon me while I rummage in the background here for a screwdriver. There we go, Phillips. It's a little smaller. It's too small, actually. Yeah, that's not going to do. Phillips. I don't think this one's any bigger. That's doing the trick, though. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and... Nope, that's still too small. Alright. That's a Torx. That's an even smaller Phillips. Here we go. Well, this is a little bit bulkier of a screwdriver than I was intending on using. So I'll just lightly tighten that. There we go. Is that going in? It's. I'll tighten that down. Not super tight, but I'll go ahead and give these a bit of a tweak to tighten them down. Alright, so now that these are all nicely contained and lined up, I'll finish soldering them. So now I don't have to worry about alignment because it's been aligned by being assembled. Just go ahead and run down the line. No heat sensitivity to worry about on this. Flip it over and solder these in. Let those plated through holes drink up as much solder as they want. There we go. Alright. That was so much easier than previous times I've done the displays. Because previous times it's been like, oh, it's unaligned, I have to desolder the pins, which is not fun at all. Or just force it into place, which may actually be why the display on that one is going funky. Alright, so there's that in place. I guess we'll do the... oh, we don't need this anymore. Just put that in my random components big box. So we've got these things, and this, and this. Alright, so I think we'll put the DC jack in next. this is the part of this kit that I'm really happy about, because now I don't have to worry about wires falling off. I just plug in a 9-volt supply, which I've got a 9-volt USB lead. You plug the USB in, and it outputs 9 volts on the other end. It's very nice. There's that. I should actually order a bunch more of those. They're dead useful. They come in 5-volt and 12-volt varieties. And for low power applications, they are fantastic. Right. That holds a little bit more solder. There we go. Perfect. Just make sure this one flowed in completely. Yep. Okay. I'm really liking the plated through holes on this kit. They are making this a joy to solder. Let's see. Clip that one off, and then clip this one off. These diags are getting a little beat up. Come on. You please. I'm totally out of shot. And I think these diodes have about had it. Let's try this pair. Really need to order up some new ones. These are a little chunkier. Yeah, there we go. Ooh. I have no idea where that went. And I'm about to lose my battery. Hopefully it'll last long enough for this clip. Alright, so the next thing is the ZIF socket. ZIF standing for Zero Insertion Force. Okay. I thought I'd straightened out those pins well enough, but apparently not. Let's get this back in place. There we go. And it's going to be a bit of a challenge to solder. So what I'm going to do is solder one pin of it. There we go. Alright. And we'll solder this opposite pin. And then just repeat the leveling process here. Alright, we're good. Alright, and just solder the rest of those pins in. Big hole is going to eat up a lot of solder. It's fine. It is immensely satisfying. I don't know if the camera's picking it up, but watching the solder level itself into the hole as it heats up is strangely enjoyable. Let's just keep flowing these in. There we go. Alright. It's almost time to switch files again. And also switch batteries. So, in a moment here I'll take care of that. As I ping a piece of metal across the room. That's why the cats aren't allowed in this room. Try to keep it as clean as possible, but it is an absolute disaster in here. Alright, so those are all nice and soldered in. Everything's coming out pretty level. I'm going to go ahead and swap batteries, so give me just a moment here and we'll be right back. Alright, new batteries in. Decided to zoom in a little bit. I felt like maybe I was a little too far out. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is these contact posts, or contact points. They actually kind of hold themselves in rather nicely. So, some crusties on the tip of the iron there. I'll just solder these. These plated through holes aren't grabbing much solder because there's hardly any room. I'm going to have to build up a little bit of a meniscus on these ones, which is fine. There we go. Of course, some of these are on the ground plane, which makes it a little more difficult. Alright, and then this one goes up here. I know this has a waveform output, and I think it also has a waveform input for just frequency counting, but we'll have to see. It's got a couple more features than the original one, but I'm going to have to track down a manual for it because it didn't come with one. That's kind of par for the course for this kind of stuff. Thankfully, it was all pretty self-explanatory on the construction process. So just nip off these extra posts on the bottom of those, and that is it almost completed. I was about to say that is it completed, but it's not going to work too well without the controller knob thingy, isn't it? Let's sweep all of that detritus out of the way. There we go. Alright, and now the little control knob, which I need to get a cap for, so I might have some somewhere. I feel like I ordered some at some point. Alright, so this actually has little little clips to hold itself in. There we go. A bit of a challenge. It's all good. Now it's in. And we'll go ahead and solder it in. These contacts here, they're not really super necessary, they're just structural, but it's a good idea to feed them a fairly healthy amount of solder just to hold the switch steady. There we go. I'm going to need my big pliers to cut those though, which I don't think I have my big pliers in here. There we go. Alright. Am I smart and have my big pliers in here, or... Oh, I do have my big pliers. Excellent. So, I'll just quickly nip off the leads on these. There we go. And we'll use the big pliers on these parts. There we go. Left kind of a nasty edge, but there's not much I can do about it. Yeah, oh well. Okay, so now that is complete. We can go ahead and test it. I have a USB output anywhere. Oh yeah, that's how I did it the other day. Okay, so this up to 12. Wait, no, I can just make this 9. I'm a dummy. There we go. Although there's really not enough room, so I'm going to go ahead and make it 12 just so I have the extra room. That's going to want me to go through the calibration process, isn't it? Okay, so we'll set that to 9 volts, plug that in, and then here's the other end of it. There we go. Plug this in. There we go. Should have power now. Now let's grab a component test. There we go. Boop that. Testing. It's a capacitor. There we go. So we've got a... Well, that's interesting. It's testing continuously. Previous one didn't do that. I don't know if... Can you see that very well? Yeah. I guess I'll need to peel this off, but I'm going to wait to peel that off until I... Also gets the ESR. That's pretty cool. Continuous testing. That's a neat feature. Let's do something fun and throw an LED into this. There we go. So testing. It's figured out it's a diode. Oh, but the diode doesn't stay lit. That's interesting. The continuous testing. That's wasn't expecting that. All right, so we know it works. We've plugged two things. Well, let's go ahead and plug a third thing in. Let's see. I have a big resistor. We'll go ahead and test the big resistor. Plug that in. Give it a click. Wait for it to go through its startup routine. It says, oh, it's a resistor at 10.3 ohms, which is exactly what it should be. Cool. I am very pleased. Alright, so the next phase of this project, and it looks like it did continuous testing on that as well. Next phase of this project is to build the case for it, which I have right here. Now this is going to be very challenging without any instructions. So we'll have to hopefully be able to figure it out on our own. It's got a bunch of different slats and spots here, posts and things. This is clearly meant to be go here. So that goes there. It's interesting that they left the whole circuit exposed. Let's see, this is probably going to need to go here. That doesn't agree with the positioning of that. Can't go that way. That definitely goes there. But this doesn't agree. Alright, I'm actually going to futz with this a little bit off camera to try to figure it out, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've got it figured out, and it's surprisingly complicated. And I've already cracked one of the pieces of acrylic, which I'm very annoyed about. But anyway, so we're going to start with this big piece here. This is the bottom. And we're going to carefully try to peel off the protective paper here. Just on one side for the moment, because this is going to be the inside. I'll peel off the outside later. I'm trying very hard not to get fingerprints on the inside parts of this. But anyway, so we've got the inside piece there. And then we've got to do these side pieces. Now these side pieces actually have a support bar that go between them. This is going to be kind of challenging. So I'll go ahead and peel that off. I'll just kind of set it there for just a moment. I'm not worried about getting fingerprints on this piece because nobody's ever going to see it. I still want to remove the paper. There we go. This is going to be such a big mess. Alright. Yeah, sorry for the silence while I concentrate on getting that off. There we go. Alright, now this piece goes... Actually, I thought of a better way to do this. So this piece goes like this. Oop. Maybe I haven't thought of a better way to do this. just do it like this for a moment. Okay, now this piece is on the front, and it's really weird. I thought it was, I thought I was missing pieces or that it wasn't made correctly, but it turns out that the the component tester gets supported on some legs, which lift it actually fairly high up off of the bottom of the case here, which is, I found a little strange, but I guess it's how they designed it. Now, you know what? I'm just going to have to remove all of the paper. This is not exactly what I wanted to do, but that's what I'm going to have to do. If I get fingerprints, so be it, I guess. Alright. So we'll just peel this. There we go. I guess we'll have to take the... But I'm only going to have to do this on the side bits. I guess it's not super bad if I get fingerprints on them. It's just the top piece that I'm mostly concerned about when it comes to fingerprints. I'll just keep... Maybe I should have done this off camera, but whatever. You guys can make fun of me in the comments as I ramble. Come on. There we go. There is something kind of viscerally satisfying about peeling the protective paper off of acrylic and revealing the shiny, clear plastic underneath. So that goes like that. Oops. Goes in there. Like that. This one goes here. Like that. I'm sure you're starting to catch on to how this is going to work. Alright. It's a rather clever design, it's just, I wish there had been instructions. I'd have been able to figure it out a lot faster. Alright, now we carefully peel this free of its coverings. Now this is the back part. There we go, peel that off. There we go. And this piece goes here. Alright. I'm still leaving the coverings on the bottom part because that'll be easier to peel off after all is said and done. But alright, I'll keep peeling. I suppose I don't really have to worry too much about doing this in a shot, but better to keep motion on the camera. Alright, and then we'll peel this one off. What am I doing for time? Oh, I'm fine for time. This is just tedious, so it's making it feel like it's taking forever. Alright, so there's that. And this piece is going to go... Wait a sec. Oh yeah, I have the other piece wrong. Okay, so this I have to flip around. This piece is going here. This little support for under the PCB. And this piece goes here. Alright. Oops. Oh, come on. Why is it being difficult? There. Ah. I get one side to line up and then the other side stops lining up. There we go. Okay. Now, stay put. So now the sort of annoying part comes up. How exactly do I want to do this? So I need these. going to need to bring them up from underneath. Which is going to be a little bit challenging. Oh, maybe I want to be too bad. Just going to flip it over real fast. There we go. And then these plastic posts are going to drop down like so. And this is going to come in and settle down on those. And I can't take these away, which is kind of a problem. Maybe I should have done it the other way. No, that would be even harder. Oof. Well, maybe I can use tweezers. This is probably really boring for you guys watching me try to get this on. There we go. Just kind of smack it until a couple of turns have gone on. Oops. Oh, that would be very unfortunate. Oops. Ah. Oh, poopeth. Actually, maybe that's not so bad. I might be able to take advantage of this. Ah. Alright. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and pause. You guys get the point. I'll come back once I've got all these in place. This is going to be really boring otherwise. Alright, I'm back. That was exceedingly difficult to put together. Simply said, there's no easy way of doing it. You just have to fiddly fart with it until you get it together. So I'm not even going to try to explain what I did, because it probably wasn't the best way of going about it. But suffice it to say, it'll take some fiddling if you end up doing the build yourself. Just be patient and gentle. Because like I said, I already cracked one of the pieces of acrylic, which I'm a little annoyed about. Alright, so there's that. Which is of course the top. I didn't want to peel the top off yet, but whatever. Alright, and then we'll peel off the bottom piece. There we go. Wishing I hadn't trimmed my nails yesterday. It's harder to peel these pieces of paper off. Alright, there we go. Now this is the part I want to make sure I try to keep free of fingerprints, but this is just going to lower in over here, try to settle it onto the tabs that are there. There we go. Alright. Now I can get fingerprints on the top of it at least, because then I can clean them off. But anyway, the next part is to drop these screws through there, like so, and being careful not to shift any tiny piece of this at all. Like I just did. There we go. Just trying to get these all lined, get them in. Now you can't see what I'm doing because I'm off shot, sorry. is this? Oh, I see what's going on. Shift this over just a little bit, I think. Yeah. There we go. Alright. Now, I kind of want to... They probably mean for you to just put these nuts immediately on, but I kind of want to make it have feet. So I'm going to go ahead and put these spare spacers on. And I'll make kind of like little feet pegs. Alright. Why does this feel like it's not lined up? Because it's not. Why are you being difficult? It's because of the PCB. Okay. Well, can we gently poke the PCB a little bit? There we go. Alright, and then we'll just quickly tighten this one down. Alright, so that's the case pretty much completed. Is this the right size? No, it is not. Of course it wouldn't be. It's one of the smaller ones. Smallest. Nope. Second smallest. Okay, so we'll just... I don't want to tighten it down too hard because you don't want to crack the acrylic, but you do want to make sure it's nice and stuck. In case anyone's wondering, it's 3/16 of an inch. Alright. We're not lined up on this side either. What's going on? Settle in there. There we go. I see what's happening. Alright, there we go. And then I'll go ahead and put these screws in like so, just to kind of finish off the sort of feet. I might go back to the nuts, but I wanted kind of a nice surface, sort of them, rather than the sharp edges of screws and bolts. Or screws and nuts, rather. So we'll just gently tighten that down to make sure. Alright, let's bring the power supply back in and make sure that everything is still working. With my luck, something broke. Now let's just peel this off. Get rid of the protective screen on that. Here's my little USB power supply thingy. Alright, so I'll just plug this in here. Project has gone on a lot longer than I was planning. Ooh, now they say tight fit, but it works. Alright, let's grab something that we haven't put into it yet. Do I have any transistors or MOSFETs or anything like that right on the line in here? Yeah, I do. I have whatever this is. So I think this one is dead, but we'll see. Put that in there. Let's zoom down on the screen. There we go. And push the button. I don't think it knows what this is. Yep, okay. Yeah, I thought this was the dead one. Why did I keep the broken, unnamed component? So I'll just tuck that over into the trash. Let's see if this one gives us anything. Yeah, I know it's not calibrated. Go. I'll have to do the calibration routine later. Yeah. So that one says it's a NPN. Gives me a lot of stuff on it. Cool. I want to feed it a MOSFET. Do I have a MOSFET on hand? I feel like I should have a MOSFET nearby. If I don't, there'll be ones right in here. Let's see. Yeah, let's feed in the S9014. There we go. It's whining at me to calibrate it, but I'll take care of that later. Alright. See, that's supposed to be a... This is not a... I thought this was a MOSFET. Oh no, that's just a 9014. So. Okay. This one I know for sure is a MOSFET. I also wanted to try just a regular FET on it. Yeah. It's a MOSFET. A lot of much more detailed information than my old one used to do. Looks like the display's a little off-center, but that's okay. And I should have some J201s. Oh, here's a FET. Just a regular FET on. Yep, a JFET. Cool. Alright, I am very pleased with the outcome of this project. Hopefully you've enjoyed this rather lengthy supercut of the construction. I think it's going to end up being like an hour long or so. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you haven't already, click here to subscribe. Right over here is a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Right here is, I guess it'll be the kit builds playlist, because this doesn't have a playlist for itself. And right here is a link that you can use to help support the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.